on the Miller-Bontes case?
Yes.
And if you have legal matters that involve firearms, then you need to call our attorney, John Dillon, especially if you have questions about red flag laws, gun registration, gun transportation, or maybe you need to know that your guns are California compliant. Call our trusted firearms attorney, John Dillon. John Dillon specializes in California gun law. Call 760-642-7150 or visit his website at dillonlawgp.com and tune into the YouTube live stream at youtube.com/gunownersradio. Like and share and tell as many friends as you can.
Awesome. Here we are. What's up, Joe? How's it going, man?
It's going great. Having a wonderful day here. Wonderful weekend.
Oh, you must have went shooting.
No, I was teaching all day yesterday, so did a concealed carry class yesterday. So
how did it go?
It was great. We had 20 people in there, so another 20 people out there getting a concealed carry permit.
They were all brand new?
No, it's
renewals?
usually splits about half and half. Usually there's, like, out of 20 people, probably 8 or 9 were coming back for renewals, and then the rest were new.
Nice. That's CCW USA, right?
Yes, it is. The famous Bill Deasy's school.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Melissa, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Welcome back to the studio. It's always lovely to see
Thank you. I was gone last weekend, but
Where were
I'm
you?
back. I was at...
You allowed to tell us?
Yes, I was a photographer for Fieldcraft Survival. They had like 4 classes here, so I did photography for his classes.
What are they survive? What are we teaching survival from?
It was like a gunfighter, pistol 1, pistol 2, and I took the no light, low light class. That was fun. And then
What'd you learn?
That I hate using a flashlight while shooting a gun, like holding it, because I have such small hands. So it's really hard for me to manipulate. And how they do that cigar thing where they put the flashlight like right here.
Right.
I can't do that because I have such small hands.
So many things you could say about that. I was going to ask you which technique you went with the flashlight.
So I held it. My chest this was like the easiest, and then I held it FBI style, like out here. That was the easiest, and then I used the one on my pistol, the mounted weapon light.
Okay,
and that was the best.
Did you find with the FBI style, when I did that, I found that on the first shot, my arm is way up there, but by the time I get to like the 5th or 6th round, my arm is way down by my face again.
it does that.
Called being out of shape.
That's called not the way that Joe should do it.
Right.
Either along the jawline or that. I forget what they call the other one where you're doing it with.
Like a wrist, bent like that. That was weird too. I didn't like that one either.
The pressed up against your temple. You guys learn that one?
No.
Amazingly,
we did kind of the draw. But,
or up against your head anywhere.
Really?
Amazingly comfortable, because you end up like when you're here, when you have it off, when you're holding it separate from your body, FBI style up, it doesn't have any reference. So your flashlight's going 100 ways, your head's going 100 ways, your gun's going 100 ways. But if you put the flashlight up against your head,
it's wherever you look.
Yeah, it's wherever you look.
With me, the flashlight's going to end up there anyway, so might as well start there.
Just take some duct tape and put it around your head and tape the
Was there a myth, a low light myth that or something that you'd always thought to be true that was busted by taking a low light class?
Not really. I kind of knew the common sense, like keep the light off of you, because if they can see that light, it comes directly straight to you. So your location is always exposed. So when you shoot, just flash it on real quick, shoot, and then take it off. I always knew that, but doing it on the move in a completely pitch black, dark, range, it was way different. And then I had to weave in and out of targets and walk forward and then walk backwards too. So it was intense.
I can't walk backwards like when the light's on. So
what'd you think of the flash there in the dark?
I thought it was pretty cool. And in fact, I was like, man, I should have gotten like pictures of this.
That light your target up for you?
Yeah.
Briefly?
Yeah, very briefly. But like it was nice to have, like I said, the mounted weapon light was the best choice for me. And because I have small hands, I have to have that extended controls on it. Even the extended controls that I had on that light was still not long enough for my thumb. I had to take my support hand off a master grip just to reach it with my thumb. So there's lots of things I learned.
Mine was, when I took low light training, the first thing I figured out was this whole, you don't want a light that's too bright because it'll splash and blah, 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 blah. Totally untrue. There's zero truth to that. Anyone that says that does not know what they're talking about. I want 1 million lumens if I can get 1 million lumens. There's
I would
no
think
such thing
so,
as a
too.
flashlight that's too bright. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because like you can use that light as a weapon itself because you can blind somebody with it.
Blinded by the light,
Exactly. Isn't that a song?
revved up like a. What does he say there?
Like a deuce on the loose? Is that what, like something on the loose?
Goose
And
on the
another
loose.
runner in the night. What was that?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's not one of my favorite Springsteen songs. But and then that other one who's that other terrible band that did that, and the Manfred Mann band or
No,
something.
I know who you're talking about.
You guys
it was.
are aging yourselves right
I thought
now.
it was Dylan though. Isn't it originally?
No, that's
Didn't he do a version of it,
Blinded by the Light. No, he may have done it. No, I doubt if he'd done a version. That's a Springsteen.
or did he
song.
write it? Did he write it?
No.
We're gonna check that on the commercial.
This is old guy stuff. It's a Springsteen
If
song.
Brandon was here, we would get that information immediately.
That's true.
Or Brendan, either
Brendan, that's what I
what
meant.
Brandon or Brendan, either one of those guys would have got it. So we had we've got a couple minutes before we go to I was about to say vacation, but I meant commercial. Two very cool things: San Diego County Gun Owners and APAGOA, which stands for.
Asian Pacific American Gun Owners Association.
That's right. Both submitted amicus briefs
Yes.
for the carry case. So what was APAGOA's based on?
Ours is based on the rise in violence for Asian Americans and how we do need firearms to protect ourselves.
And this is a case that's coming out of New York.
Yes,
New York City has a significant Asian population.
absolutely it does.
So
Big one.
the idea that that they would need to protect themselves is extremely relevant to the city of New York. Now this is a direct carry case that's going to the Supreme Court, and ours was based San Diego County Gun Owners. It was actually San Diego County Gun Owners, Orange County Gun Owners, and Riverside County Gun Owners combined with a couple other groups. That the amicus brief has to do with. It just talked about the historical aspect of carrying. What did it mean to carry 200 years ago, and what was happening in 1790 when they were writing the Second Amendment, and that sort of thing. So
Well-
we're very proud. That's huge. It's a big deal.
Isn't the Asian population huge in the United States? It's not just big; it's huge.
Yeah, especially like in the New York City area,
San Francisco,
Bay
LA,
Area. Well, that's a lot. Like
San Diego.
that's where a lot of
Go
the
to
crimes
Mira
are
Mesa.
happening.
Go to Mira Mesa.
Oh my goodness, yes, Mira Mesa.
I mean, it's a community. I mean, the whole area is Asian Pacific, which I think is great. I mean, I used to teach up there, but yeah, no, it's
Well, show me a communist country, and I'll show you a huge population in the United States.
yeah, no kidding.
So yeah, but
I'm really proud of us for doing something like that.
I think it's awesome.
It is awesome.
I think it's taken a little longer than it should, to be honest with you. I know it. Unfortunately, it's happening because of violence, which just goes to show you don't want to push you folks in a corner for very long, then you're going to end up getting hurt.
And you guys have only been around for like a month, and you already have
like
an amicus
March.
brief going
Yeah.
to the Supreme Court.
Hey, that's a feat right there.
How
That's
about
pretty
that?
good. Yeah, I'm really proud of
Who's
us.
behind this?
We just have like a founding board members, just 4 of us, and also Top Shot Chris Chang, winner of Top Shot.
Didn't we have him on?
You did a couple times,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah,
Great
so
guy.
he's our advisor and one of our board members as well. So he was the one who kind of headed that.
So don't forget August. What's the date? Oh no, it just fell out of my
what?
head. Our picnic.
Won't forget that one.
Oh, don't ask me.
We're having-
Anyway,
we're having a
keep
picnic.
an eye on our website and our Facebook page and your email.
Wendy will know.
For our summer picnic in August. It's
We're
going to
having
be
a
at
picnic?
Mike's Barbecue in Escondido.
Oh, I know
it's,
Mikey.
it's taking place of all the meetings. So
Is it going to be at his location?
yeah, on August 18th. I did it.
Oh,
August 18th. August 18th.
Hey, you know what?
So there's no monthly meetings that month. It's just a picnic. Everybody come to the picnic.
I might, because Mike, I do a lot with Mike for car shows and stuff.
Yep.
That'd be a good reason to get him on KUSI.
I think so. But stay tuned. We're actually going to interview the sheriff here. We didn't get the music.
Yeah, we
So
did.
we got to go to the
No music? What
we gotta go to
happened?
commercial.
He probably thought it should have been
There it is.
responsibly on
Ah,
the radio.
that's-
there you go.
That's the one that'll get
And you didn't
stuck
have
in
to
your
do
head.
1, 2, 3 either. All right, folks.
I was
Hey,
waiting
stay.
for the right time.
Oh, I
Perfect.
see. So stay tuned. It can happen to anyone, and there's no guarantee that the justice system will be on your side. So gun owners should have coverage for the legal battle after your self-defense battle. While you protect your family and property, U.S. Law Shield is here to defend you 24/7, 365 days a year with a comprehensive self-defense coverage at an affordable price. Bad guys don't take days off, and neither does our coverage. Guess what, Gun Owner Radio listeners? You can get a free T-shirt when you join. Just use promo code GUNOWNERSRADIO at uslawshield.com. All right, well, we're just hanging in there before Sheriff Alex Villanueva from L.A. County calls in. But in the meantime, why don't you kind of give us a little promo?
Well, so the idea is, of course, we're very, very focused on elected officials, especially locally elected officials, people at the county level and below. There's a lot of emphasis. People tend to focus too much, in my opinion, on who's in Congress and who's in Sacramento and who's in the White House. And it's frustrating because there's almost nothing you can do about that. There are hundreds of thousands of people who get to vote for people, for who gets to go to Congress, to at least tens of thousands, sometimes, hundreds of thousands who get to vote for the Assembly and State Senate, and tens of millions who get to vote for president. So how much say do you actually get in those cases?
Yeah, see, and that was one of the great things I learned from you, actually, after getting involved here, because how much of a difference you can make. You can actually sway things locally. I mean, if we look at, like, the supervisors, Joel Anderson won by, 250 votes. Dustin Trotter and Santee won by 5 votes on the city council. So, you can really make a difference at that local level. And the local level is important for, again, the things that I learned from you. That a lot of the people in Sacramento and then beyond in Washington started out locally. They started out on school boards, on city councils. And if you could stop some of these bad ones locally, maybe you never see them up there doing damage in Sacramento. The other thing is with locally, you get the wrong people in office. They cause a lot of problems for gun shops, for gun owners, for ranges, just locally. There's a lot of harassing things they can do with fees and licenses and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
before a couple of years ago, how many people had actually heard of the County Board of Supervisors? Before COVID, I'll say. Before COVID, how many people had actually heard of the County Board of Supervisors or knew what they did? Probably very few. Yeah. One of the reasons people have heard of the County Board now is because they totally screwed everything up and destroyed all kinds of businesses. And that's because we got the wrong people on there. They were pretty quiet. They weren't great. Diane Jacob, not great.
No.
But not
Greg
hurting
Cox,
people like we have now.
They were just they were kind of lame. But they weren't really, they didn't do a whole lot right, but they didn't do much wrong. They just kind of were there. Ron Roberts.
Real quiet, collecting a check.
Yeah, Bill Horn's a good dude. But anyway, they were there for decades, and you didn't really hear about much. And, as critical as I just was of them, maybe that's the best kind of politician, is someone that you don't really hear much about because they just kind of
then what good is
fill potholes and,
What good are they?
Well, so someone we do hear a lot from is Nathan Fletcher, and he's on the County Board of Supervisors, and that guy shows just about every symptom of a sociopath that there is.
Right.
I mean, we hear a lot from him, but none of it's good, and he's not very, very good at his job. It was actually really horrible with this whole COVID thing. He of course, had the at first when COVID first started in February, he was out in at different Asian restaurants telling everybody that it's ridiculous. The only way you can get this thing is if you go to China, and that people need to come out and go to restaurants and stop acting ridiculous.
Pelosi did the same thing.
She did do the same thing. I think that it was connected. I think that they
when one says it, they all say it.
And then he's the one that was, we got to shut everything down, above and beyond what everybody else is doing, and it's not based on science. If you go to a restaurant, as long as you're eating and drinking at the same time, you won't catch COVID. But if you're just drinking, then
it's like standing on the wet sand as opposed to standing on the dry sand at the beach. COVID knows.
Yeah, you can't sit down. If you sit down, you'll get it.
I've never heard of that before.
No, they came out with a rule.
Yeah, that was from L.A., I think.
Yeah, you could not.
Dry sand and white sand was different.
Right.
Wow.
You couldn't sit on the dry sand, but you were okay if you were walking on the wet sand.
Right.
So that's why it's important. That's why we wanted to talk. We're actually going to talk to the sheriff of L.A. County because he was starting
to be working.
Maybe he's on the job.
Maybe. What a concept.
He was going to call in and talk to us about how he's issuing CCWs, which is a good thing.
And I don't think he's enacting the mask rule, is he?
No, well, he said they weren't going to expend. He said it really politically nicely too, I think, because he said he wasn't going to expend manpower enforcing the new mask mandate in L.A. Simply because he said, and he got in the fact that they're understaffed and underfunded, and that's one thing they just don't have the people to do. They're going to focus on doing other things.
Well, from what I've read, and this is mostly headlines, what I've read is that they, a few years ago when they had those huge fires in L.A., that the county board decided that they didn't like the way the sheriff ran things, and they started kind of clamping down on him. He was upset with the DA. They elected this new DA who said, "Hey, I'm not going to prosecute like anybody. No matter what the crime is, I'm going to, err on the side of not prosecuting." And when you're the main, the head law enforcement officer of a county, especially one the size of L.A., and your guys are catching people, and and they're just being let right out, and they're not being prosecuted, it's frustrating, I'm sure.
Well, and that's the thing about law enforcement too. I mean, those guys have to live with those bad policy decisions, and it goes beyond frustrating. It becomes dangerous now for them, and because they're thrust into that, and they're risking their safety and their lives to catch these people, and then they bring them to jail. They don't get prosecuted. They get let right out. The ones that are in prison get let out, and they're seeing the effects of that now in the areas where they're doing that, because you're seeing it in the cities, and controlled by a certain party, and you're seeing the effects. You're seeing the skyrocketing crime. We're even seeing it here in San Diego. We have a spike in crime now, and
bad crime, violent crime.
Yes, and there's reasons for it, and it's not guns.
Yeah, listen. One of the reasons I liked Trump when he was in office, he was making huge steps towards criminal justice reform. I'm a fan of reforming criminal justice. I think that too many people are getting arrested for too many things. I think the drug war or war on drugs, or what do we call it, has done more harm than good. Right. But putting a sheriff of, I think it's the largest county, most populated county in the United States, in the position of, hey, look, here are laws that we passed, then we're enforcing them, but then the DA is not enforcing them, and some of them are violent criminals. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Well, but you have the effects too. You've all seen the videos there of people shoplifting.
Yeah.
Since they've raised
$900.
I think it's $950. It's a misdemeanor up to that, so it's not worth doing anything. And these people know this, and they're just blatantly going in and just taking
with a calculator,
bags full of stuff. Yeah, and it's it's something that Giuliani did years ago when he first became mayor in New York. The broken windows approach to things.
Yeah.
If you prosecute those little crimes and clear up those little crimes, it has an impact on the bigger crimes, on the worse ones. And he was able to clean up New York quite a bit. And now they say New York today is pretty much back to how it was before he was in office, with all the violent crime.
There's actually a debate about that too, as far as the broken window theory. People who are generally on the right think, it's of course you arrest people that are breaking crime or that are committing crimes, and whatever the crime is, and that if you do take the people committing crime off the streets, even for small crimes, bigger crimes won't get committed, and other people will get the message. The other side says, hey, wait a minute, this concept is what led to like stop and frisk. Where if you're a police officer and you just don't like the way someone looks, you're allowed to go stop and frisk them for no reason, which is I think in a lot of cases is easily made to be, the case can easily be made that that's a Fourth Amendment violation. But it's hard to argue with what Joe just said, was that New York showed a huge improvement when it came to crime reduction.
Well, again, if you just take the stop and frisk thing, for instance, I mean, with police officers, when they work in a neighborhood and they're in a high crime neighborhood, I mean, they know who the gang people are. They know who commits the crimes. What they can prove and what they can't prove are different things. But if you look at Chicago, I just saw they're breaking records again for shootings up there and killings with guns or gun-related stuff. And if the police are free to stop people that they know almost certainly are carrying or that they know are gang members, then, if the gang members can't carry like that without the risk of being stopped, then they can't just shoot people at will like they're doing out there. Because it's a war zone, and it's not all over Chicago. It's in certain areas. If you look at when what's his name? It was Dr. Lott, John Lott.
Yeah.
Did a study on that, produced it a couple of years ago, violence in all the counties around America. You could see even in the worst places, even in Chicago, even in L.A., it's restricted to a small number of counties. The vast amount of counties in L.A. are relatively free of violent crime, or they have very low violent crime and murders. Same thing in Chicago. If you look at his map, the way he mapped it out, it's a handful of little counties all clustered. The rest of the counties, the murder rates are very low.
Or non-existent.
Yeah, there were counties that had 1 or 0 murders in that year.
It's striking.
All it takes is what's happening in New York. Now that they're shooting in these high-end areas, now it's an issue. Everybody's up in arms. That'd be just like if somebody shot up the French Laundry, you don't think the criminals wouldn't be taken off the street? Because you can't go, they don't want them in their neighborhood.
Yeah, well, and another thing, too, with the police, with the current environment, I mean, if they're not actively policing and they're hesitant to do that
sure,
because their agencies don't back them up, there's a lot of risk.
Blackhound Optics, accurate, affordable, guaranteed. Sporting optics that you go the distance. Backed by customer service that goes that extra mile. Great guys, great product, and a great company that is making optics affordable. On top of quality optics, they pay close attention to the customer experience. Did you know their scopes come with mounts so you don't have to worry about finding one that fits? We are so excited to have them on as an official partner of the show, and for them, or ask for them at your local gun store, or find them online at blackhoundoptics.com.
So we're supposed to be talking to L.A. County Sheriff Villanueva, but he has not called in yet, so we're going to talk a little bit about what we were going to talk to him about. So he said that this was back in April. He issued 585 licenses, 335 are about to be issued, and they'd received 2,162 applications, which means that their department has issued more CCWs than the last 3 sheriffs combined. And, from what my understanding is there's only 2 people. There's 2 ladies that are running the licensing division up in L.A., and they're pretty inundated and overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. They were actually at our, Joe, when we went up to that CCW.
Vacaville, yeah.
Up in Vacaville. L.A. County was there, represented. And so it's interesting that they've changed this policy after decades. And I think in a lot of ways they're just kind of following suit with, San Diego went to federal court and still didn't change their policy, and they finally changed their policy. But it seems like he's kind of gotten into this, he being the sheriff of LA County, has kind of gotten into this contest with the county board that determines his budget, and then the DA that chooses not to prosecute the folks that he's arresting. And it feels like he's probably trying to appeal to a new voter crowd. Mm-hmm. That if
walking that thin fine line.
Yeah, saying, well, all right, geez, if there are people that voted for the DA, there are people that voted for these county board folks. I need to, if they decide that they don't like me because they like the DA or the county board, I need to go find new voters.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's a huge block of voters. If his challenge will be getting the word out, because it says they have 2,162 applications now, and that's one of the biggest things we see here. I mean, we've been doing this for the better part of 4 years or so.
Yeah.
And I still have people come up to me and tell me it's impossible to get a concealed carry permit in San Diego. And in LA, I think it's just like San Diego used to be. I mean, you just can't do it unless you're politically connected or something. And I think people become, what's John Dillon's term for it is institutionalized from the Shawshank Redemption, where he's saying we've been abused.
I'm not crazy.
Well, no. He's saying that gun owners out here have been abused for so long, in terms of their rights, that, okay, they just accept all this stuff now and nobody cares. But if the sheriff can figure out a way to get the word out up there, they're going to have many, many more than 2,162 applicants out there.
Yeah, well, and I think it sounds like it's real. All the feedback I've gotten from people that have actually, people that aren't famous or judges, or district attorneys who've gotten CCWs through his new process. It sounds legitimate, but it also sounds like they're experiencing growing pains.
Have they shaved their times down under 14 months yet, or?
Well, that would be a real good question for the sheriff if he had
haven't
called
heard
in
that, huh?
like he confirmed he was going to on Friday. So I don't know, but it is an interesting tactic, and it is honestly, it's kind of a little bit of evidence, at least, that the tide's changing. We talked about this last week, how we kind of take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and a lot of people get all grumpy and mad and frustrated because not everything goes their way. But the reality is the Second Amendment, the fight for the Second Amendment to preserve and restore the Second Amendment, especially in California, we're going the right direction. So when the L.A. County Sheriff thinks that it is politically advantageous for him to issue CCWs in order for him to get elected, that is a good sign.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, too, we talked about last week is, we have kind of a skewed view out here of, what the attitude is towards the Second Amendment and guns and everything around the country. Because pretty much the country is, with the exception of, 7 states or 6 or 7 states, pretty much the country is pretty pro-Second Amendment and pro-firearms. I mean, if you look at the way the concealed carry stuff has been growing across the country in the last, 10, 20 years, the number of constitutional carry states now, the way gun sales are still thriving now. The people in the United States, it's pretty much pro-Second Amendment, pro-gun. It just doesn't seem that way because, of all the negative stuff you get from the party that's in power now, from the media and that kind of thing.
It's true. Even in California, if you could take out, it's really San Francisco, San Jose, L.A. If you could take those 3 places and remove them, California would be.
Yeah, it's like warts.
You just
get rid of them.
Just sink them into the Pacific Ocean and displace all the people. I don't know. Send them out on an enormous yacht or something. I don't know. But without those voters, California would actually be a fairly pro-Second Amendment state. And there's actually a lot of really cool, it's got a really great Second Amendment history. But as far as our actual carry laws, when you do get a CCW, so our laws that are involved in carrying, as well as the legalities of lethal force, our state's really, really good. Even compared with some of the other states that people would normally think of as pro-Second Amendment, like Texas used to have some pretty bad lethal force laws. Do you remember that video of that lady? I can't remember her name.
From Luby's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where did that take place?
Yes, I wrote about that.
Right.
Took place in Texas.
Took place in Texas. What was the gist?
The gist there was she was a chiropractor,
Yep.
and some friends of hers, for concern, they showed her how to shoot, and she was carrying, but it wasn't legal back then at that point. So she had the firearm with her, but she left it in her car in her purse. And she went into a restaurant. She was meeting her parents.
Because she couldn't carry in the restaurant
friends.
Was the reason she left
it
outside.
she didn't want to take a chance carrying it. So, she had it with her. She left it in the car. She didn't want to bring it in with her.
So they had some fairly restrictive laws as far as carrying in Texas. Everybody, oh my gosh, not Texas.
Well, the second part of that story, though, is while she was in the restaurant, some nut drove through the windows in his pickup truck, got out, and started shooting people. 2 of the people that were killed were her parents.
Right.
And she wrote a book about that. She became a congresswoman actually from Texas. She testified before Congress about it. And the gist of it was if not for that law, she could have had the gun with her.
Right.
And she was 10 feet away from the guy. She said she could have done something.
But it's never been illegal, to my knowledge, at least in the last 30 years. It's never been illegal in California to carry in a restaurant. You can't carry in a bar, but it's never been illegal to carry in a restaurant. So a lot of the carry laws in California are actually pretty good. When people were getting all excited about, castle doctrine and stand your ground, California has a really, really strong castle doctrine type law where basically if you're in your house and someone has broken in, it's assumed they're not there to bake you a birthday cake. If they broke into your home, it's assumed, hey, this person is here to do me severe harm. Mm-hmm. And California has fairly strong laws when it comes to that. And as far as stand your ground, it's not stand your ground exactly, but you don't have the duty to retreat in California. You never have to. You've never had to, I should say. And I think what it is that California used to be a really, really strong constitutional Ronald Reagan state. And when they started changing gun laws, they didn't really mess with. They're not smart. They don't really know what they're doing. So they're just banning guns. But the carry laws, not that bad in California. So once you get your CCW, it's actually not that bad carrying in California.
Mm-hmm.
So we were hoping to, like I said, talk to him about what his
don't they have to have
position is.
signage on a building stating you can't carry at that?
Well, that's another thing that's interesting in California, because those signs like that you might see at Starbucks or something, they don't carry the weight of the law. You don't really have to pay any attention to those. Because you're concealed means concealed. Mm-hmm. So if somebody in there does see for some reason you've got a gun and they ask you to leave, you have to leave. But like in Arizona, for instance, surprisingly, those signs mean something, and you can't violate that sign. If it's posted, it's posted. They have rules. It can't just be a little cartoon sign. It's got to be a certain way. But it has the weight of law behind it in Arizona, which is interesting. You wouldn't think they would be that way, and then we're the opposite way out here, but that's how it is.
So there's another perfect example. Everybody thinks, Arizona is the land of milk and honey when it comes to guns, and that, hey, we should all just go there and all our problems are solved. That's another example. What kind of state gives, a restaurant owner the ability to, basically it's sanctioned Second Amendment limitations? I mean, that's ridiculous. Now, everybody has if you're a private property owner, everybody has the right to say, hey, you can't be on my property, beat it. But as far as saying, hey, I'm stating it's illegal for you to have a gun here. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. So, I guess just what I'm trying to say is it's not all black and white, and that California, does have some positives, and hopefully, we're going the right way. There are far more sheriffs in California that issue than don't. Far more.
That's true. Yeah, people don't realize too, because what do we have? 58 counties, yep. I think, and most of them issue, I believe, on just personal defense or self-defense. Everybody has the good cause requirement that comes from the state, but the sheriffs have a lot of latitude as to what they accept for good cause, and I think from what I hear, a lot of them accept you want to defend yourself. It's a good cause.
Well, if they get those laws and eliminate them, it's your fault.
I know.
You're listening.
You guys talk about it?
Yeah, we let the cat out of the bag here, right?
Yeah, you just brought it up, and they're all going, hey, did you know that? No, I didn't know that. Did you know? Let's look that up. Son of a gun, he's right. Well, if they come after him, it's your
me.
fault.
Mark my words here. Well, I'm not the only person to talk about it.
Yeah, but you're on air.
Well, that's true. I'm not the only one on air to talk about it.
Well, that's true, too. But, just saying, because you said, I have to agree with you 100%. They're ignorant as to what they're doing. They just really don't know. All they know is they want to eliminate guns, and they don't want you to own them. That's all they know.
Right.
Crazy.
So if it's getting better in L.A., I think that is proof positive that it's getting better throughout the entire state.
Boy, isn't that the truth.
Because out of 58, honestly, I'd have to go look at the map, but I think there's seriously only about 8 counties that are truly difficult. I'm not even sure that's true.
It only
anymore.
takes one or two to stir the pot. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, the big one was I think the big two were Orange County and San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Orange started issuing and kind of showed, hey, this is how you can do it and still comply with California law. And then San Diego to do such a huge 180 of, hey, we're not issuing, and now, hey, we're proud of our issuing. That was a big part.
That's huge. Are you tired of your money going to big tech companies with First Amendment issues like Amazon, Google, and Apple? Well, check out the free speech alternative. conservativeeconomy.com/gun owners radio. You can shop electronics, home goods, office products, and something you won't find on Amazon, guns. And there's a lot more. When you shop at Conservative Economy, you also help Gun Owner Radio. Just go to conservativeeconomy.com/gun owners radio. That's conservativeeconomy.com/gun owners radio.
So
okay, back to the topic.
So speaking of sheriffs, by the way, Melissa and I were at a very cool event last week. Where who do we get to hang out with?
Sheriff Chad Bianco.
Yeah, what'd you think?
He is a really nice guy, and I said to Mike, I'm like, I wish we had a sheriff like that. Didn't want to say it too loud, but yeah, he is a really great guy, and he actually encouraged everybody at the 2-year anniversary of Riverside County Gun Owners, that get your CCW. He actually said to everybody, please get your CCW. Apply. If you haven't, do it. And I'm like, we need somebody like that.
Yeah, it was cool. It was the 2-year anniversary of Riverside County Gun Owners Day. We had a big party.
I wasn't invited.
You were invited?
I was not.
I told Melissa, invite Dave. Did you not? I just threw her under the bus.
Yeah, he threw me underneath the bus right there, Dave.
I know. Story of my life. But no, but we talked off air, that I had heard a gentleman state that, an armed society is a polite society.
Yeah.
And I think that really struck with me. It really, really did. Because
what do you like about it?
Just the fact that if everybody was armed,
yeah.
Do you think a criminal is going to go in and start, trying to hijack people? And, I think it's the right thing to do. Because when you really look at the statistics, how many law-abiding citizens are involved in crime?
Well,
they are,
yeah.
But it's a very low number compared to the hardened criminal that's, dealing drugs or whatever the case may be.
It's the career. I think what you're saying is the career criminal.
That's right.
It's somebody who's made a career or made a lifestyle out of crime.
Right.
They're the ones that are
they're not going to change their ways.
Not only are they not going to change their ways, but they're the ones that are causing 90% of the problems.
So let's go fix that problem and leave the law-abiding citizens alone.
Well, see, and that was one of the issues too. We were talking about a little bit earlier with people like the district attorney up in L.A., letting people out and them not prosecuting people. And I can't remember the exact stat, but it's upwards of 75%, I think, of crime are committed by career criminals. It's the people that are in prison that you let out early or you refuse to prosecute. They're coming back out and they're just doing it again. And that's, another thing that contributes to this crime wave, I think, that they're finally now starting to talk about that's been going on in the cities.
Well, it's because
Melissa looked right at me when you said crime wave. She looked right at me like I'm the one out there. It is a legit crime wave too.
It is.
It's like
because they have free reign. They know they can get away with it,
and it's violent crime. It's like homicides are up double-digit percentage year over year.
So all the people they hated and they knew they couldn't do anything about it, they still hate them. Now I can take them out because I'm not going to. Well, again, look at New York. Three murder cases just dropped just because the prosecutor didn't show up, and then she quit. But it's like, okay, well, you're going to go after him now, but no, they just dropped the cases.
Well, and I think it's too if you're not going to prosecute criminals, and we were talking a little bit about the whole broken window theory. If you're not going to prosecute a criminal who's doing something, fairly destructive, and you keep that person out in the street, not only do you have the people that were already going to murder people that year, but now you have the people that should have been in jail anyway, and they're going to murder people that year because they got away with armed robbery. They got away with stealing your car.
Well, look at the break-ins. I watched a video where it showed these guys walking down the street, blowing windows out of people's car and grabbing their stuff out.
Jeez.
There was like 8 cars in a row, and they weren't running. They weren't in a panic. They were very politely blowing the window out, reaching in, getting purses, suitcases, whatever the case may be, and there were 8 cars in a row.
I wish I could remember the movie. It's a couple brothers.
Another movie.
I think it's called like Hell and High Water or something like that. It's a couple brothers who decide to rob a bank in Texas.
Yeah, I know the movie you're talking about. Yeah.
And one of the first banks they go into, they basically get shot.
There's an old guy in there, with a gun.
and they made the comment. They were leaving, and they made the comment. They were trying to get away, and they made one of the brothers said to the other something along the lines of, "Yeah, it sure is a lot more complicated with all these CCW holders," or something like that. Which I thought was a great comment for Hollywood.
You noticed it didn't get an Oscar.
Yeah, no Oscars.
No, a good movie though with a twist at the end. But I can't. What was the name? Did you remember the name of that movie?
I'll have to look it up. I think it was called like Hell and High Water, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, it wasn't Red Dawn.
It was definitely not Red Dawn.
He knows Red Dawn. He knows the script.
But yeah, just talking about that stuff. I think that with the crime and everything, it's just a bunch of little things adding up. Again, not wanting to keep career criminals in jail, not wanting to prosecute people for minor crimes.
But why not?
Well,
I don't get it. Why not?
Well, because again,
are they going to be voters?
Well, my personal opinion, they want them to be voters, for one. They want people to vote from prison. But again, it's a philosophy, it's a strategy from a certain political party that just pushes that stuff. And, if like what you were just talking about, smashing windows, stealing stuff out of cars, okay, kind of a minor crime. All right, we're not going to prosecute that one. But then now you leave those people that are prone to that kind of behavior out there, and they just escalate. They do more after that. And on top of that, you're doing things that are keeping police from wanting to proactively work. And, all of that just adds up to, to produce what we're seeing now, I think.
So, Joe, they go by your truck, they blow your windows out, and take about 3 or 4 of your firearms. That's not going to bother you?
They wouldn't find that. They'd take junk in my truck.
But I'm just saying, let's say you were going to the range.
Yeah, of course it would bother me.
Well,
but there's nothing you can do.
Well, that's not the answer. I would.
I agree with
you. I had a toolbox, a stupid toolbox with some hand tools, and to this day, if I ever catch the guy.
Yeah, but see, that's back to your polite society. That's why an armed society is polite, because you can't. I don't want to go live where those people have to live.
I'm not polite.
I don't want to go to prison.
I'm not polite because I can't carry. You know what I mean? It's just.
All right, everybody, you have a homework assignment. Go see the movie Hell or High Water, 2016's Hell or High Water, starring Chris Pine, Jeff Bridges, and Ben Foster. Chris Pine is, of course,
how old is
Jeff.
this movie?
Jeff.
2016.
It's not that old. Jeff Bridges is the cop in the movie, right? If I remember right.
Oh, he's not one of the Goofy brothers?
No.
It seems like he'd be one of the Goofy brothers.
They're thinking Quaid.
Well, he's old now. He's old now, right?
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges is now Bo Bridges' age.
Dirt old. He is dirt old.
You know Chris Pine? Okay, so Chris Pine's the guy. You know who Chris? Of course, Melissa knows who Chris Pine is, right? So Chris Pine, he's a good-looking dude, right?
He is very good looking.
So he's Captain Kirk in the new Star Trek movies, right? You know his dad was that dude in Chips.
There's only 2, Eric Estrada.
No, like their
the
supervisor. Yeah. That was his dad. Their supervisor. His last name was Pine as well. That's how you can tell. But anyway. Little movie trivia there for you.
Okay, so I have a story about Chris Pine, like a memory that I will forever be burned in my head.
Uh-oh.
I went to David Chong's house for a Christmas party one time when I worked there.
Yeah.
And he had a beautiful big Christmas tree, and then on the tree was like a picture of Chris Pine, like his face. Yeah. I'm like, why do you have a picture of Chris Pine? He was like, Chris Pine Tree. And I'm like, oh.
It's a Chris Pine tree.
It's a Chris Pine tree. I'm like, oh my
guy.
God. I know.
Yeah, that's Chris Pine.
Well, at least it wasn't a Star Trek tree. There was one of the guys I used to ski patrol with was a big Star Trek nut, and his Christmas tree every year was decorated with Star Trek stuff and little enterprises and from all the other shows and stuff. And his wife actually let him do it, which is interesting.
Nerd, yeah.
So it could have been worse.
So Riverside County Gun Owners had their big 2-year anniversary. Every year now they've had Sheriff Bianco come. He was in our kickoff 2 years ago. He was there. Last year at our 1-year anniversary, he was on Zoom with us. We actually did a little trivia contest on guns that he won.
By the way, did you get invited, Joe?
I don't think so, but I'll go back and check my stuff from Melissa.
Checking. Since I didn't get invited, I guess Melissa didn't invite you.
Everybody's going to blame me today. That's fine.
Blame Melissa. So he was there on the 2-year, and he was there. Two things that happened. One sad, one happy. The happy thing is Riverside County Gun Owners voted to endorse Sheriff Chad Bianco. He's running for office, so they voted to endorse him. He doesn't have any opponents yet, but we're hoping that if everybody jumps in early, that he won't have an opponent, and he can just continue to be sheriff, not have to worry about that. And then the sad thing is Karen Wood, the executive director for Riverside County Gun Owners, her husband got a big promotion, and they're moving out of state.
Oh, bummer.
So
I miss you, Karen.
Can't you just stay?
That's what I was trying. I was like introducing her to guys. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, hey,
She'd come to your house.
like, how connected are you to this
Ask her if she
husband?
cooks.
No,
She'd
no.
come to your house and cook.
I am so happy for them. It's a great opportunity. Her husband's worked so hard. He
Out
got
of
this
state?
great promotion out of state.
Maybe she should start something out there.
Well, we're kind of chatting about that, but for now, we're gonna have to. Everybody's gonna have to pull a little bit harder because they lost an enormously efficient, effective worker. Karen, we're gonna miss you. Good luck on everything. And Riverside County Gun Owners, we're gonna keep rolling. She signed up. We looked, and she was she was on staff for just over a year, less than a year and a half, something like 15 months, something like that. And they are up to let's see, they had 61 members when she started, and they're already up. They're closing in on 300. She signed up over 200 members, working part-time and helping with San Bernardino County Gun Owners. She is a superstar.
Absolutely.
Can't thank you enough, Karen.
All right. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, but stick around. The next segment, we have Joe Drammissi talking about your carry gun, and I'm assuming that's a blog?
It is a blog.
Oh, that's right. That's outstanding. All right, folks, welcome back to Gun Owners Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The answer. There's a higher level of scrutiny when it comes to your carry gun versus a hunting, competition, or even just a range toy. We're going to talk about it.
But first, maybe you've heard of Mike Lindell and My Pillow. Well, his company was banned because he stood against the cancel culture mob. What happened to My Pillow is not right. Our freedom of speech is just as important as our freedom of self-defense. We are thrilled to support an American company like My Pillow. Go to mypillow.com and use promo code FREEMARKET3, and you can get up to a 66% off America's best pillow. Get a great night's sleep and enjoy the satisfaction of supporting companies fighting against cancel culture. That's mypillow.com and use promo code FREEMARKET3. All right, Joe, what do you got?
Well, got a blog, I guess.
Yes,
So,
Blog,
blah, 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 yeah. So, will your carry gun work when you need it to is the subject this week of this week's blog. And I started thinking about that. I was reading an article by Greg Ellifritz, who's a retired, I guess, law enforcement officer, but he's a big trainer now. He's an author. He's got a book or two out. He writes lots of regular articles. And he's got his company is Active Response Training, so that's where he teaches. That's what his website. If you search that, you'll find his website. And I was reading an article on there, and he was talking about he had the experience he had. He had some surgery, and he couldn't carry the gun that he would normally carry the way he would normally carry it for a little while till he healed up. So he was carrying a smaller J-frame revolver in a little holster, and he called it his yard gun because that's the gun that he would normally use when he's out doing yard work. And as his yard gun, it gets a little bit sweaty, and it's in that environment. And he would use that, and he'd wipe it down afterwards, but he never really opened it up or did anything with it. And he was using it for a couple of months. Then the gardening season went away, and he threw it back in the safe and never looked at it. So when he went to use it again, as he was recovering, he was carrying it for a little bit, and he went to the range to use it, and the cylinder would not open. Wow. It was stuck, and he finally played with it for a little bit, and he got it open, and the cylinder crane had rusted up from him carrying it around like that. Just from the sweat and moisture and stuff like that. And he would wipe down the outside, but he never really opened it up and got inside with it. And the rust had accumulated in there and kind of froze it up. So it's interesting because he was carrying that, and he didn't realize it was not going to work had he needed for it to work. And so it got me to thinking about that with people now with our growing concealed carry population out here. It's how often do people check their concealed carry guns? And I was thinking, okay, how often do people shoot the guns, say, that they carry? And because now that I'm teaching these classes, we get people in there for renewals or people that are, getting their initial permit. And, at least anecdotally looking at it, a lot of those people don't shoot a whole lot. And I don't want to say a lot, but there's a significant number of them do not shoot regularly. And I started thinking about that. If you don't shoot your carry gun regularly, then, how often do you look at it? How often do you clean it? Do you guys shoot yours? Right? How often do you guys, Michael, how often do you shoot yours?
I shoot it not as regularly as I'd like, but I definitely shoot it like at shooting socials if someone needs to borrow a Glock 19, something like that. Or, of course, I go to front sight for 4 days every year. But one thing I do is when I take it out of the holster, and before I take it out of the holster, or after I take it out of the holster, before I put it in my holster, take the magazine out, look at the magazine, and then do a little, pull the slide back, do a little check. So I'm at least doing that. So I'd say I probably shoot my carry gun. I'm going to say I probably shoot it, 5 times a year. If you don't, depending on how you count the 4 days at front sight. If that's one time, then I shoot. A day is a day. Yeah, I shoot it 5 times, including that 1 4-day time at front sight. And then, but again, every single time. It's also my carry gun's also my nightstand gun. Uh-huh. So so I pull it out every single day, check the magazine, check to see if it's actually loaded. What do they call those? They call those press checks, right?
Yes. Well, I started, because I told you my Arizona story, so I check mine now pretty much every day too to make sure it's really loaded. But Melissa, how often do you shoot yours?
Mostly at shooting socials, because I have the M&P Shield 9, so that's really great for women shooters because we have smaller hands. So a lot of people don't have them. They'll have like lots of Glocks, but they're like Legos and they're hard for them to grip. So I let them use that.
Okay. Because I'd be curious, actually, for people listening, I'd be curious to see, in general, how often our listeners that carry guns every day shoot theirs. Because I shoot mine probably a couple of times a month, 3 or 4 times. But my situation's a little bit different because I'm working RSO shifts and then I'm teaching, so I have that opportunity to do it a lot more. The thing I don't do as much as I should do is clean.
I was about to say, the real question is how often do you clean your carry gun?
Well, and that was the next
Take him over to his house. I'll put him in the sink.
Right in the dishwasher.
Because that was the next thing I was thinking about too. Because again, and I write about this in the article, it's, do you clean the gun? I don't clean mine as often as I should, but I carry a Glock 19. I've got 2 other Glocks that I shoot, and I know how the Glocks work in terms of being impacted by being dirty.
Clean and dirty.
Glocks will go a long time. I mean, I could shoot a surprising number of rounds through it before it'll start to react to being dirty. And I know what that is, and I clean it well before that. But again, it's important if you carry guns, you carry other guns, CZs or shields or things like that. Different guns are more sensitive to that kind of stuff. My 1911 is much more sensitive to being dirty than my Glocks are. So, if you're carrying that gun, it's important to practice that or to shoot it regularly. And then it's important to make sure it's going to work when you need it to work.
All the 1911 people listening just recoiled in disgust. And how dare you suggest?
How dare you not clean it after every shooting?
How dare you suggest that?
No, they all ran
that
the
1911 isn't
No, they all
as good
went in
as
and
a
pulled
Glock.
them
I didn't say it wasn't as good because it's such a precision instrument. You have to keep it clean.
He's back.
That's
That is true.
That's the thing of the 1911.
Like every 1911 owner has said to me, mine never jams, except. And then they tell me about how it jammed, but it's not the gun's fault.
Well, and I joke about that too. Melissa shoots matches. If you shoot matches, you'll see people, the more tricked out the gun is, the more it malfunctions.
That's
and
true.
the ones that aren't malfunctioning usually are the Glocks, because I always joke about that. We'll talk about practicing, clearing malfunctions. And I'll tell people, you should know how to do it. I don't get much practice because I shoot a Glock. It doesn't do it that often. But if you
Mine
shoot
doesn't
matches, you'll see people in the middle of the stage, wrestling with this gun because it's doing this or it's doing that. But I think if you're carrying the gun, as a carry gun, you should pay attention to that, and you should try to get to the range. I don't know what the number is, but I'm guessing maybe monthly at least to throw some rounds through your carry gun. And, just pay attention to it and know it because, your life could depend on it at some point.
Maybe we should just throw out some minimum standard. We should probably talk about that, come up with some minimum standards.
Talk to some experts.
How often should you I think you should probably clean your carry gun, whether you shot it or not, you should clean your carry gun twice a year.
Yeah.
Let's say you carry your gun for a year,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't shoot it, you don't go to the range at all. You're raising kids and going to your job or whatever. I still think during that year you should have cleaned it twice.
Well, how often should you look at it? Because I think the looking at it, what you just said, makes better sense.
I like I said, every time before I put it in my holster and when I take it out of my holster, I check to see what's going on with my gun.
Well, look, that story I just referenced from Greg Elfritz, he would take that little J-frame revolver out and, he's done. He would wipe it down and look at it. What he didn't think to do was click it open and actually look inside and wipe that part down. And, you could have the same thing on a semi-auto, I guess, not obviously not a cylinder crane, but just a different part in there if you don't actually pull it open and look.
Yeah.
But
I suggest you get a bore scope. Check out PRMI Mortgage, primeres.com/Alpine. Are you in the military, looking for help for a VA loan? Or if you're looking to buy, refi, or maybe you're considering a reverse mortgage, call our local mortgage guy that you can trust. Call Chris Wiley at PRMI Mortgage. For nearly 25 years, Chris has been helping local San Diegans with all their mortgage needs. I called him. He said, don't bother. The way you're doing your house payments is fine. Now, there's a guy you can trust. Chris Wiley, 619-722-1303, or just go to primeres.com/Alpine. And when you chat with him, thank him for supporting Gun Owners Radio. All right, Melissa, what do you got?
Well, today I have a really cool case for your guns. It's a pistol case. I got this for my birthday. It is by Case Club. It is a 3-pistol and accessory case. So I'm going to show you this today because this is like the new go-to case for me because I can carry pretty much everything in it. So I'm going to show you this. Okay.
You're going to make the case?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm going to make the case for the case. Okay, how am I going to do this with this microphone?
We missed that drum roll.
I know.
That lock is on there just in case?
There's going to be all kinds of dad jokes today, apparently. So what's cool about this is like it can handle like the padlocks, which is great for, this is how you're supposed to travel at the airports.
Is that lock case hardened?
Oh my God. I have 2 dads right next to me, like doing dad jokes. So great for traveling, for luggage. Good. It has 2 locks because like when you travel with your firearm through the airport and you check your bag or you check your firearm, it has to have 2 locks, and it should be 2 padlocks, and you always keep the key with you. So that's great. Really sturdy.
Is that just in
lock.
case you lose one?
This is never gonna end. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's open this puppy up. So it has room for 3 firearms. I don't have a third. So, and look at all the magazines that it carries. It's a lot.
But in some cases, if you had 3, though, you could put a third one in there, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Just in case. Just in case.
You want to keep all your magazines in there rather than all over your house because you don't want someone to case the joint.
And then steal all your firearms.
Right.
I'm looking right at the camera. I'm like,
No, you're not. You're looking at me. I didn't do it.
okay. Anyways.
Can't put a case on me.
If you notice, these magazines are a little longer because these are my competition mags for my CZ SP01. These ones go all the way down. These ones are the short ones for my M&P Shield 9. So little shorties. Now, what's nice, I can customize this. I didn't have to dig out the insert in here for the short ones, and it hits a bottom. These ones I dug out even deeper, and it totally fits them just fine. So I have 6 CZ ones, 2 for my concealed carry. I can actually show guns this time around. We've already done a clear for these guns anyways. Like I'm next to Joe. He's already looked at these guns. So here, it also...
But just in case.
Show clear. There you go. It actually accommodates a mounted weapon light. So it's thick enough within the case to actually hold that.
So is that the foam you have in there? Is that the foam that's like, is that pre-scored so you can actually shape it the way you need it to, or do you just have to cut it out?
No, it's pre-cut like this, and this is actually military grade. What is it called? I can't remember what it's called. Polyethylene, and they called it closed cell foam so that you can actually wipe it out. So we can actually wipe this out.
Porous. Closed
Correct.
cell means
Closed
it's not
cell.
Yeah, it
porous.
doesn't suck
But
up
just
moisture.
in case, can you cut it out to make it fit your particular weapon?
Oh my God, I'm gonna get this all day long. Okay, I actually made a little spot right here for my my up Lula. See, look at this. This is not yours, because you know, like you always get your up Lula, your speed loader, like stolen at the range. Not mine, because it's pink. Nobody wants to steal a pink one. Everybody wants to steal the yellow, the black, or whatever. No one wants to steal a pink one.
Oh, I'd take pink as opposed to not having one. I was so happy when I first discovered that thing.
Yeah, it's a
So
lifesaver.
just in case, you better lock the case.
Is it waterproof?
It could be.
Yes, actually it is. This is actually waterproof. It has a seal in here, so
you
it is
could
waterproof.
take it to if you're going to an atoll or maybe some cays.
Yeah. Where's
Well,
my
'cause
where is
was
my
such a
wah
stretch.
wah
That
wah?
was a
Because
stretch.
you guys are just taking this
Well,
way too far.
you got a
Look
lot
at
of.
Rich laughing. He's my new best friend.
See, you have so much money in that case, you don't want to take a chance of losing it.
That's right. It fits everything. Eye Pro, my accessories bag, Ear Pro. This spot right here, I didn't even put it back in, but it holds my electronic Ear Pro, my grizzly ears in there. So that's really nice.
Can you keep your makeup case in there?
I could. Yeah.
That's nice.
Because you carry everything. Every time you bring a case in here, it's got all your gear. It's got your phone. It's got your makeup. It's got your car keys, right?
No, I don't have I don't carry makeup with me.
Well, I'm just saying in case you were, going to go to
That's true. I would. That's true.
a party. And you have to be prepared in case.
Just in case,
Just
Dave.
in case.
Thanks, Dave. Egg crate, egg foam. I love this. And what I really like about this is the Gen 2 case. So the Gen 2 case actually
Case closed.
Oh my God.
That's a good one. That was the best of all of them.
Okay. So Mike's having a good time over here.
That was great.
Gen 2, instead of having plastic hinges or plastic pins, it actually has metal. They've reinforced it with stainless steel metal pins, so it's a little stronger. It also has these ribs in here to make it a little sturdier as well. So this case is amazing. It holds so much stuff, and it's well balanced. This handle is actually put in place to balance this case out. So love it so much.
How long have you had
it? Like 3 weeks.
So it's really just a briefcase.
Oh my God.
That's even better.
Yo, save me.
What's the warranty on
Jesus,
this?
take the wheel.
But what's the warranty on this case?
It's a lifetime warranty.
No matter
on this
what?
case. I didn't read the fine print on this case.
Well, just in case you dropped it, and somebody drove over it.
What's the case cost?
But, in case you didn't know, it's $97.70 for the case with a lifetime warranty.
Can you get a Melissa discount on the case?
I actually tried to get them to come on the radio with me.
So they're not talking to you?
They said they weren't interested in being on
Radio.
coming on to the radio. I'm like, all right, peace out, man. But I'm still gonna do a review.
And what are the dimensions of this one?
What, the case?
Yeah, I don't. It looks like I don't even know. It's not a joke. This one's not a joke. I really want to know.
Yeah, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
They have a variety of sizes.
Like you know what's crazy is they actually make cases for an Uzi, for a CZ Scorpion, for a Desert Eagle, for revolvers. So it's very specific.
So they make cases for all sizes, shapes, and forms.
Yep. And this is not meant to hold revolvers. They actually have a special case for revolvers.
Oh, I thought you had revolvers in there.
No, I don't have. Did you see me? I pulled them.
Well,
Well, actually, you're on the back end.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the case.
She just had the magazines for her revolvers.
Oh, well, I thought she said she had a gun in the case.
I do. You
Not in
didn't
this
see
case.
me?
Well, no,
Oh
you
my
didn't.
gosh.
You didn't pull it out.
Yo.
Well, just in case.
Help me.
Don't worry about it. We'll do it another time.
Yeah. All right.
Because
So
you've already opened it once.
I opened it lots of times for you, Dave, and I didn't show you my guns because you're on the back end of this case.
I'm always on the back end of this case.
But love this case. Like that I can wipe it out when it gets dusty and dirty at the range.
How heavy is it?
It's actually, I don't know exactly how
But
heavy it is.
You can haul it around?
Easily. Loaded with 3.
Does it come with a strap?
No.
Okay.
Doesn't come with a strap. If I did this right, I can actually hold, I think it's 23 mags in this case. 23 mags is a lot.
Wow.
Michael is really holding back the case jokes right now.
Good.
Well, he's just making a case for the fact that that's a good case to own.
Yeah. So,
less than $100. That's really not a bad idea.
What's that optic on your CZ?
Oh, it's a Vortex Venom red dot.
Oh wow, looks cool.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have a cover on it?
Yeah, I got the cover on it.
okay,
There you
okay.
go. Now it looks like a normal red dot.
It looked very space aged.
Yeah.
All right.
Are they a California company? The people that make this?
They're in Anaheim.
Oh, okay.
That would be California.
Yep. It's
Right.
California.
From the People's
right.
Republic. Great.
Case closed.
Case
Case
closed. Yep. Case
right.
closed. Thanks, Dave.
Think
So
I'll
if you
just
want to
help
get
out.
your Case Club case, they have tons of cases. They have ones with custom foam that's already cut out for you like this. They have them with foam that's not cut out, so you can do your own.
Will they personalize them for you if you tell them what you have?
That I don't know, but we can look on the website for
Well,
you.
I'm sure if you gave them a call and just says, "Hey, I've got this," I mean, maybe a vintage pistol, that wouldn't normally be their normal cut.
That's
Or
true.
whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
Or-
exactly.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
I'm just saying, say you're a cowboy shooter and you have a weapon that's not normally, could you have them customize it?
I think
Does that
you
mean
can.
Because if Michael does it, you know what it'd look like when it was all over.
Yeah. You know,
You'd have foam all over the front room, and nothing would fit.
The max length of a pistol that can go in here, it'll hold 8 5/8 inches. That's pretty long.
It is.
Yep.
That's more than a Glock 34.
That actually is. I don't know.
What's with the latch there? It looks like it has 2 little latches.
This right here?
Yeah. Why does it have 2? It's just extra grippy.
Yeah, it's just a latch. There's only 2 latches on here. Man, are they sturdy? They're super
They
sturdy.
really are.
So I can't wait to travel with this because I got some trips coming up and I have to bring firearms and I have to declare them. So this is going to be the case. It's going to go through TSA and luggage, and I'll have to go pick it up at a special place. But this is going to make sure that my gun...
a case place?
A case
Yeah,
place.
all airports have
That's where you
case
have to go.
places.
Yeah, a case place. So I've been made fun of enough today
I think so.
with the case. But if you would like to get your own Case Club case, you just go to caseclub.com and get your own.
Is that case sensitive?
It could
No.
be lowercase.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, just checking, because if it's not lowercase,
If I had a
It
squirt
could be
bottle, I would
uppercase.
squirt each and every one of you today.
and you know what, we would probably appreciate it.
Probably would.
Case Club, it's called. That's the name of the
it.
Case Club.
Case Club.
CA
Sounds delicious.
CLUB.
You have pineapple on your Case Club there.
Those are my stickers. I created those
That
stickers.
comes with it,
Yeah.
with the case.
My pineapple grenade.
I don't usually like pineapple on my club, just my pizza.
Yeah.
He's one of those, Dave. Do you like pineapple on your pizza?
Yeah, I'll do it.
There you
Oh,
go.
there you go. Best friends forever.
That's right.
Absolutely, I like pineapple.
He's not afraid.
Hey, we're proud to partner with the National Concealed Carry Association as a 10-ring partner. NCCA exists to serve the Second Amendment community by providing a nationwide network of 2A advocates. Offers elite self-defense and concealed carry training from the nation's top instructors, providing rock-bottom price on the best selection of gear and accessories. Learn more about them at nationalconcealedcarryassociation.com, and you'll be happy. By the way, I have a red dot on my salt gun.
Yeah.
Works really, really good.
Does it?
Took a little practice, though.
You are the scourge of the fly
dude.
population.
I used to
in
yell.
Alpine,
I used to yell at the wife when she left the dog, the door open. The flies would come in.
but now you just shoot her with the salt gun.
No, I just leave the doors open.
Oh, to get the.
I'm up to 7.
You just got. You just like a. I just have this. You just have like little buckets of honey throughout your house, hoping that.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Don't give him any ideas.
Awesome.
I have an assault gun too. I love it.
I
Blasted flies.
Don't you
Well,
love it?
I don't like having flies in my house. I don't
don't
have very
either.
many, but when they do, it's like, ooh, get the gun.
Yeah, but I corral them into the laundry room and then close the doors, and then I was trying to shoot them as in flight, and I haven't got that good yet. But I have to wait till they land.
Is there a particular brand of salt you prefer?
I like the salt that comes with it. It's FDA approved.
Nice.
But man, when you hit a fly with that stuff, it
You
just
should practice the in-flights. It's like sporting clays.
Well, I've tried, and
It's true.
and then you keep hearing crunching in the laundry room as I'm walking through there. But
So
you do have to keep that canister full, though, because if you let it
Full
get
of
too
salt?
low, it doesn't blow as much
makes
salt.
sense. You ever? What about pepper? Could you do pepper in there?
I probably could. I never even thought of
I'd
that.
like to see that.
Yeah. I also have a red dot on my Ruger.
Probably not shooting flies with that though.
She won't let me.
Yeah. All right, everybody listening, I want you to go to
homework?
your pets, either their litter box or their bird cage or whatever, or go over to your stash of fresh fish, unwrap the paper and look at the Union Tribune, because I know no one actually reads the Union Tribune anymore. 'Cause it's such garbage. But in this case, they did something good. This morning in the Sunday edition, they had an op-ed.
You subscribe to that thing?
No, I actually don't. I don't subscribe. No,
I was gonna
but I get media alerts on my email, and we helped get this done.
Birdcage.
Yeah, bird. Yeah. So the first time I held an AR-15, that's the op-ed, and it's by Lauren Hill. Lauren Hill lives here in San Diego, and she is not Lauren Hill from the Fugees, Melissa.
Darn it.
Yeah, not that Lauren Hill. Lauren is she's done a bunch of work for the
A really good
Safari,
group.
the Safari organization, Safari Club. She's very well known.
So you're saying Lauren's a little tougher than that reporter from the New York Times that held an AR for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Who still has like post-traumatic.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
She's actually the CEO of Real Camo Girl, which is a community of women who have a passion for the outdoors. And again, she lives here in San Diego. She lives in Poway, and fantastic, very intelligent woman, and very accomplished hunter, and with guns, very, very proficient. And we helped her get an op-ed into the Union Tribune.
And they printed it?
They printed it. Now, they printed it right next to an anti-gun op-ed. Because, God forbid, they just let a message stand alone.
Yeah.
But it's actually very, very interesting. I just want to read a little bit of it, and then let's talk a little bit about it. Last month, the Honorable Roger T. Benitez issued a lengthy decision in the U.S. District Court case Miller versus Bonda, declaring California's assault weapons laws unconstitutional. While gun rights advocates cheered, others stoked fears of California streets being flooded with so-called quote-unquote assault weapons. But as Judge Benitez stated, as he stated in his decision, this is an average case about average guns used in average ways for average purposes. That quote right there from his decision is we need to adopt that and put it out there as every other sentence. That's extremely important that people know that.
Make a T-shirt.
Because the strategy is to try to ban ARs and AKs and basically any kind of semi-automatic is to make it sound dangerous, make it sound exotic, or make it sound basically like a machine gun is the idea. So I thought that she and I agree that that's the best quote in that whole decision. This is an average case about average guns used in average ways by average for average purposes. So what exactly is the big deal about assault weapons? The pervasive message in the media is that assault weapons, particularly the popular AR-15, which stands for Armalite rifle, its original manufacturer, not assault rifle, are deadlier than your average firearm. Exactly what we were just saying. They're trying to make the case that it's somehow deadlier, which is kind of ridiculous. Something's either deadly or it's not deadly. Something's either lethal or it's not lethal.
You're
right?
either partly dead or you're dead.
Yeah. They're just mostly dead, right? From The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. I mean, it's like being kind of pregnant.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to go there.
You either are or you're not.
Because it's a family show.
But the idea that the gun is lethal, they're really trying to, as if somehow, it's not a bomb. If you're holding a bomb, it might go off.
Your car is lethal.
Could be, potentially.
I just had a friend got killed this morning, 2 hours before the show.
Jeez, I'm sorry to hear that.
Going to work, head-on collision with a drunk.
That's horrible.
In a car. I mean, could you not say a car, it could be potentially a lethal weapon?
But the idea that a gun is, lethal, it's lethal to someone who's attacking you.
Right.
It's not like the gun is just going to explode in your hands.
Exactly.
It's not dangerous, and it's not like a chemical that.
It's only dangerous if it's mishandled.
Right, or exactly.
Like anything.
It's not going to explode.
Your microwave could kill you if you put something metal in it.
The reality, it's a semi-automatic rifle that functions just like all semi-automatic rifles. One trigger pull equals one round fired, but estimates conclude that semi-automatic firearms make up at least 50% of all firearms in the United States. Functionally, they are the same as almost all civilian-owned firearms, including revolvers, bolt actions, lever actions, and pump actions. One pull of its trigger results in one round fired, emphasizing the fact that, hey, this is a gun just like any other gun. So, the other side of that is if they're able to ban a gun that's just like any other gun, then what gun can't they ban? You know what I mean?
Well, you know what their goal is, all of them.
Exactly the point.
And if they can get their foot in the door, and that's all they're trying to do, is just trying to wedge the door partially open so they can get through.
Exactly right. The AR-15's popularity among shooting enthusiasts comes from its ability to be modular, fully customizable from top to bottom, including stock length, barrel length, trigger style, all the way down to the firing pin. People afraid of AR-15s will tell you that its adaptability makes it deadlier for a criminal intending to cause harm, but they ignore that this is the very thing that makes it a more effective self-defense tool for self-protectors of all sizes and statures, particularly women who on average are shorter, smaller, and weaker than men. Again, this was written by Lauren Hill, who is a woman. Its lightweight and low recoil make it easier to handle, and its barrel length makes it easier to shoot more accurately than a handgun. Combined, these features make it optimal for the defense of my home and my family, particularly in the not-so-far-fetched scenario of multiple invaders. Okay, so before this paragraph, I said, hey, it's just like any other gun, which would raise the question, well, then why can't we ban this and you use any other gun, right? That's the danger. Well, she just spelled it out. Look, this gun in particular is customizable. You can make it fit whoever you need to. It has low recoil, so it's easy to use. That's why you can't ban. That's why it's important to not ban this gun. So it functions just like any other gun, which means that if you can ban this, you can ban any gun, which is why we're against the ban. But then again, the other side of that would be, well, if it's like any other gun, then why don't you just use any other gun? We'll ban this one and everybody's happy. No, this gun happens to work really, really well in many, many, many different cases and in many different scenarios when it comes to self-defense and stature of the user.
Mm-hmm. Very well written.
This is my ideal defense tool in a home invasion, which is something we don't talk about nearly enough. I'm actually a big fan of shotguns, especially for home defense, but AR-15s are amazing home defense guns. In fact, if you look at what the military uses, when they're going house to house in a foreign country, it's very, very similar and has a lot of the exact same design features as the type of semi-automatic firearm we're talking about. The U.S. Department of Justice reports over 1 million burglaries occur each year with people inside the home. So 1 million times a year in the United States, 1 million times a year, someone breaks into a home where the people are home.
And those are just reported break-ins.
Right. 26% of those people become the victim of a violent crime. So what's 26% of a million?
250,000, about a quarter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, see that. Having access to the most effective self-defense tool in existence, a firearm, and the easiest style to use, a rifle, gives me the best fighting chance to protect myself and my children. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. The first time I held an AR-15, I could immediately see its advantages. The collapsible stock meant that it could fit both me and my taller, larger husband without any permanent modifications. That adjustability allows both of us to reach the grip and trigger properly on the same firearm if needed with a single adjustment of the stock. This feature and other cosmetic features prohibited by the California Assault Weapons Control Act allows me to use the firearm more easily and, more importantly, more safely. I thought that was an interesting and important point as well. The fact that we all have, people in our lives who aren't the exact same size as that we are. My wife's, I'm built very much like a gorilla or perhaps caveman. My wife is built very much like a human woman. And, so I have this big, broad chest and short arms, and she and I can use the exact same AR.
Go with gorilla.
Thank you. Oh, thanks, Dave. That's the nicest thing you ever said.
I like gorillas. They're so kind.
That's sweet.
You're a nice gorilla.
I've struggled with finding guns that fit me since most guns are designed for the average man's hand. Proper fit is critical and important for each person to find what fits him or her the very best. Anyway, and it goes on. There's actually a few more paragraphs. Thank you so much, Lauren Hill, for a very thoughtful, well-written op-ed. Appreciate you very much. If you're listening, go check out the Union Tribune, go online, or take a look at our email later this week and read this op-ed and share it with people.
Are you going to put it on the website?
Oh, yeah. We're going to put it all over
that way
the place.
Nobody has to subscribe.
Exactly.
We live in a state where your self-defense rights are under attack all the time. Let us be your voice to help defend and restore the Second Amendment. Help spread the word about the fight. There's two easy things that you can do. One, like and subscribe to the show on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Instagram, the podcast, or whatever way you like to listen to the show. Share the show with as many friends as you can. And thanks for tuning in. And remember, together we will win.
All right. So every week we have a very cool contest where if you write in and send us a piece of gun trivia, we will ask my nephew Sam the Gunman, and if you can stump my nephew, you're going to get a lifetime of firearms training from Front Sight in Nevada. If we use your question on the air, then you'll get a hat or a shirt from San Diego County Gun Owners. How cool is that? Sam, you there?
Yeah, how are you guys?
Good, man. How's exotic Oshkosh?
Well, we're in Wapaka right now, but
are you in Wapaka? Are you? Well, gee golly.
Oh, sure.
Say then there now. Hey.
Do you get to wear overalls when you're out there?
It's not required, but it is encouraged.
It's encouraged. It's encouraged. Yeah. So Oshkosh is, of course, the big annual air show that you're at, right?
Oh, you're at the air show?
Yeah, they have an air show in Oshkosh, Wisconsin every year, except last year. But
I love air shows. I always want that's on my bucket list. That's definitely on my bucket list.
Did you take
it's a great time.
Did you take the stick on the flight out?
Yeah, I got some hours, did some landings. Good experience, good practice.
Fantastic.
All right, that's enough stalling.
Yeah.
Let's ask him the question.
All right.
Okay.
Sam trying to
Hi, Sam.
stall.
And
Hi, how are you?
no
Good.
pressure, but I know the answer to this song or this question, so no pressure.
Well, yeah, of course you do. You looked at the paper.
No. Did I look at the paper? No. Mike said it, and I went, "Oh, I know what that is."
He probably looked at the paper.
I did.
Make a federal case out of
Okay,
this.
so can I, because I
Case
haven't been here in a
closed.
while, Sam, and I haven't talked to you in a while. I wanted to ask you really quick, how did the fireworks look from, above an airplane on 4th of July?
Pretty impressive. It's always neat seeing a bunch of people shooting off fireworks from the ground, especially when you're watching a professional display. In Virginia, we're not allowed to have the rocket type fireworks, so it's kind of funny to see how many people are shooting them off anyway. They drive up to Pennsylvania to get them, but it's very scenic.
I'm actually showing her video.
Yeah.
Posted
Did you
on
feel
your
like
mom's,
a
Instagram.
World War II pilot with flak all around you?
Not really.
Oh. Well, you kind of get the idea what it was like back in the day.
Well, I just saw some video that Mike showed me about. I was like, wow, that looks really pretty. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. It looked like a lot of fun. So, on with the question. Domingo from San Diego asks, what pistol did John Dillinger use to escape prison?
Domingo from San Diego. Thanks for writing in. John Dillinger was, just to give a little bit of background, John Dillinger was one of the famous gangsters of the Prohibition era. He was well known for his showmanship. It was said that whenever he robbed a bank, at least the people got their money's worth. He was big into making a whole production out of it. And he famously wasn't a very good shot. He had a highly customized 1911 that he'd had worked over by a gunsmith. I don't know if this is what he used to escape from prison, but it is the pistol most associated with him. It's in a museum somewhere. I don't remember which one. But he has the foregrip from a Thompson, the cuts compensator from a Thompson, an extended magazine, and a fully automatic sear.
No.
Is that what he...
No? What is
Okay,
it?
so what did he use to escape from prison?
You must not have watched the movie.
I thought you were
I
going
did not.
No, you
Don't
have
worry,
to.
read it.
You're doing
Okay.
it.
You got it.
All right.
I don't read so
Believe it or not, when Dillinger was holed up in a Lake County jail, an Indiana jail heralded as nigh unescapable, he managed to break out with nothing more than a piece of dark wood that he carved into the shape of a pistol.
good. What kind of trick question is that?
And with it, he tricked intimidated his way past fellow inmates and even 33 individual jail guards, a harrowing escape which ultimately let him live to see another day.
So this was a trick question. Sam actually gave a thorough answer to what kind of gun
John
Dillinger
Dillinger
carried, and this
his
was like some
favorite
kind
gun.
of
And he
trick
also left the wooden gun at the scene of the crime just to embarrass the police officers.
Really?
I would like to lodge a complaint. This was not technically a firearm question, as he was.
That was
You're right.
That
Duly
was
noted.
that was somebody looking for a front sight membership, is what that was.
But
All right,
it's a fun question, fun story.
it is. What's I got a question for you. What is the difference between ghost ring sights and peep sights?
I think the distinction is that ghost ring sights use a much larger rear aperture that's supposed to sort of disappear. But I haven't heard anyone explicitly say that.
That's the difference. Peep sights are small. Ghost rings ghost ring sights are big. That's really the big difference.
Yeah. The idea is that the ghost ring is supposed to pretty much disappear from your field of view, hence ghost ring.
Gotcha. Good job.
Yeah, not bad, right?
All right.
All right, man. Well, listen, enjoy enjoy the gun show. Enjoy the airplane show and take some good pictures and
post them.
Safe travels flying back.
Yeah, when you flying back?
No, about a week from now.
Oh, you're there for a whole week, huh?
So I found out. So what do you guys fly over to Lake Michigan, right?
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I just found this out, Dave. They actually fly over land, gain altitude to about 9,500 feet, and then fly over Lake Michigan because they want enough altitude in case, like, the engine goes out, that they can still glide all the way into Wisconsin.
Oh.
Right? Isn't that the deal?
Yeah, that's correct. We did 10,000 feet, and being that we're going to the west, it'll be an even-numbered 1,000 plus 500 if you're flying VFR, or an even-numbered 1,000 if you're flying IFR.
So they don't want to crash into Lake Michigan, so they go up to 10,000 feet so they can, just in case, so they have enough room to glide.
And crash.
Kind of sobering.
And crash on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. You want to rather crash on the ground.
I don't know. I'd do a Scully. I'd land in the water.
If
he can do it.
Anybody can.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on. Look how old that guy was.
Yeah, right?
Come on. I have all the confidence in the world Sam could do it.
All right, Sam. Awesome job, man.
Thanks for having me on. Have a good night.
Wow. So the last thing we want to talk about today is San Diego County Gun Owners, Orange County Gun Owners, Riverside County Gun Owners, and San Bernardino County Gun Owners. This week and for the next few weeks, we are going to make very popular a press release that we're putting out, the Yes on the Recall campaign. Yes on the Recall campaign. So we've had a lot of people ask us, well, what should we do? Who do we vote for? All that other good stuff. We talked about it last week, that if we don't get enough people to vote yes on that recall question, it doesn't matter who else is running.
Yeah, that's kind of the more important thing, because a lot of people don't understand. It's just two questions, right?
Yeah.
The first question is should Governor Newsom be recalled?
Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
And then if that's a yes, then the second question is, okay, which one of these 80 people would you like to replace
Well,
him?
that's not going to fly, because you heard who they're sending out to help him.
Who?
Kamala Harris.
Oh, great.
Seriously, they're packing her bags and they're sending her out to help him defeat.
Oh, good. I hope she hits the street out here and starts talking to people.
Well,
That'd be great.
No. She's only going to go to the French Laundry. No, but seriously, they're actually sending her out there to help him get over this.
All the more reason, and personally, I've seen a lot of Republicans arguing over, they're not all Republicans. There's like 42 candidates. They're not all Republicans, but most of them are Republicans. There's at least one Libertarian, Jeff Hewitt. There's three kind of no-name Democrats.
Larry Elder.
Larry's a Republican.
Who fought to get on the ballot because they weren't going to let him on.
Right. The rest are Republicans. That's great. But what I'm seeing is people argue over two candidates that are so similar. What you should be doing is spending your time getting more people to show up and vote.
Yeah, not run.
Not trading votes between two people that are already going to vote. Make that decision. I'm looking forward to CRPA or NRA or some organization saying, hey, here's the 1 or 2 or 10 pro-Second Amendment choices. But what we're trying to make clear is the best, most effective thing you can do right now is get more people to vote yes on the recall. So make sure you get every single person. The polls have it at a 50-50 chance right now. 50-50. So the only reason that we could lose this is that everybody listening right now didn't work hard enough. All you have to do is get 5 or 10 people that weren't going to vote for yes on the recall. So look for that press release and help us get the word out.
Well, and realistically, too, it's kind of less important who gets in there, because if you think about it, whoever it is, since we have effectively one-party rule out there, I mean, whoever's in the governor's office isn't going to be able to do too much because of the legislature, and whoever it is going to have to start seriously thinking about running for, a year and a half later is the election.
Yeah.
So it's more important to get him out.
This is the only election where I'm kind of looking at the field and saying, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't.
What
Just
really
get him out.
matters is
Just
getting
get him out.
getting Newsom out.
Well, because the other thing too is if we don't, like going back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the show, if we don't get him out here at this level, we're going to see him again in Washington later.
Right.
Oh, mercy.
So
Don't
he
even
will get
talk
more.
about
If he gets
And
recalled, that's
honestly,
done.
my opinion, none of these candidates are that impressive. I'm sorry. Larry Elder's not that impressive.
No.
Kevin Faulconer sure as heck isn't that impressive.
No.
John Cox came on the show. We interviewed him. Not that impressive. Just get somebody in there though, because
And not-
all of them are way
not
more
Caitlyn-
impressive.
Get somebody
not
out.
Caitlyn Jenner either.
Well,
I like Caitlin.
I like him. I'd vote for it.
You would.
All right, folks. This is Gun Owners Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The answer.